Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to our school board meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have met compliance with all official notifications. Roll call, please.
Steve Stupak.
Here.
Brooke Taylor.
Here.
Glenn Albrecht. Here. I'm here. Nick Schumacher.
Here.
President Olson.
Here. At this time, would you all please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education held in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for comments by members of the public during the meeting as indicated on the agenda. Members of the public wishing to address the board on any of the topics included on tonight's agenda may do so by completing a public comment sign-up sheet and handing it to our deputy clerk. Any comments involving personally identifiable information about students, staff, or administration is not allowed. Comments should be respectful, focused on the items being considered by the board, and will be restricted to 3 minutes in length. Our first order of business this evening is to conduct our candidate interviews for our open position on the school board. Our first candidate is Christina Kintoff. We welcome you. I am Steve Olson, board president. As you know, today we are interviewing for the Superior District school board vacancy. Thank you for your interest in filling the vacant seat. There have been 6 questions selected. Every school board member will ask 1 question. This interview will be limited to 15 minutes, which gives you approximately 2 minutes per question. You'll need to manage your answers to ensure you have enough time to get through all 6 questions. Ann Schultz, our deputy clerk, will be signaling when we are halfway through the interview by holding up a yellow sign, and when time is up, by holding up a red sign. Your time will start after I read the first question. We will send out an email to all applicants tonight with the final board decision, and we wish you good luck. I will now begin with the first question. Why do you want to be appointed to the school board, and what are the contributions you think you can make to the district?
Well, with 25 years of experience in the advocacy realm, I would like to take this opportunity to work with the board and our community and connect them with organizations, professionals, and other school boards across the state, and work in a very professional and positive impact as we move forward through these tumultuous times with a budget cycle that is not real friendly to public education. I had mentors on the board when I came on working with advocacy in the legislative process, and I would love to have that opportunity to work with this board to pass on the knowledge and the experience I have working at the state level, specifically in the state funding of public schools.
Thank you.
Hi, Chris. Steve Stupak, board member. My question is, describe your understanding of the school board's role and of the administrative role in the district.
So I believe that the school board's role is definitely one of policy. I believe in the 20 years that I served, I put most of my emphasis on advocacy work and the budget. I believe that public schools in the state of Wisconsin should be adequately and fairly funded. And as a board, we should be advocating that for our children in the district. I think being in Superior, the board here does need to be even more vocal and more united because they tend to forget about us in Madison. And what happens in Madison has real impacts here in our community. So I think there are many roles of a school board member. That is one that I feel like I could bring to the table right now with my expertise. I also feel the board should be supportive of our administrators, our teachers, and our staff, because that is what is best for our children and our community.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello. How would you handle receiving a call from an irate parent or employee with a complaint?
So I think anytime you receive a phone call from a parent, you should always listen to, or a staff or an employee, you should always listen and hear them out. But there is definitely a chain of command. So I believe that when you listen to somebody, they want to be heard most of the time. And then you direct them in the right direction. A lot of times, these issues can be solved right in the classroom with the classroom teacher. So I do believe very strongly in the chain of command that those teachers or parents or whoever the call may be needs to start at the very basic level of that chain of command. And then if they feel they don't get what they want out of the conversation, they can move up to the principal, then the superintendent, and then lastly, it should be the board, but the board should hear it as a whole.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Brooke Taylor. What do you see as the current strengths of the school district that the board should work to maintain going forward? And in what respect, if any, do you believe the school district is weak or needs improvement? Please give specific examples.
So I absolutely fundamentally in my core believe that Superior School District is one of the best in the entire state. And I don't say that lightly, and I don't say that with blinders on. I think because of the work I have done at the state level, I can see what other districts are struggling with. As we speak, I am missing a Wisconsin Public Education Network meeting that we're coming together to discuss the budget, and that's bringing in communities from all across the state in a Zoom meeting. So I say that wholeheartedly that we have one of the best districts. I think we have been fiscally sound. We have had a board that's been very functional, very proactive in this community. There's a lot of pride in our community. I think right now, our biggest struggle is going to be the budget. This budget that came out, it has nothing good in it for public education. And that is something I would love to jump right in with both feet, because I have a lot of institutional knowledge in regard to the budget and how it will play out for us specifically in Superior, and what we as a board can do to get our community to understand the impact that that funding makes on the school district. As you all know, we just had some pretty tumultuous, again, times with meetings with closing a school. That wasn't right that didn't happen because of right now. This is 20 years of underfunding and inadequate funding for public education. So that right now I feel is going to affect Superior the most at this point in time. Do I think there could be other things? Yes. If I got back on the board, I'd have to be caught up to speed, but I think I could jump in both feet and hit the ground running in regard to especially the budget cycle, because this is going to happen again in 2 years. And I think Superior needs to be ready as a community, or we're just going to keep seeing these kind of cuts. So I think we have to work together. Thank you.
Good evening, Christina. Please identify specific examples of situations where you have demonstrated a working style, communication skills, leadership skills, or decision-making skills that show that you would be effective on a 7-member school board.
Well, I actually can probably be the only candidate that can say I come with 20 years, almost 20 years experience on a school board. I've also served, again, like I said, on the Wisconsin Public Education Network for over 12 years as a board member. I've been active in the Wisconsin Alliance of Excellent Schools, which is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that is organized to help bring all people of like-minded, which is the public education, network, together. We're 450 strong with organizations, school districts, and individuals that are working as a coalition to try and increase the funding. So I do still serve on that. I have served on several different committees over the years through the mayor's office, through Governor Evers. I've been on 2 committees at the state level with the governor. I've been on several committees here in town. I would say my leadership role in the last 20 years, I've worked with 19 different board members, and I've never had an issue with a board member in 19 years. There's been times we maybe have agreed to disagree, but I, again, truly believe that the Superior School Board has been instrumental in changes. I think what comes out of that is when we all work together, kind of throw our ideas on the table. Steve, you might even attest to this. I do tend to verbally throw things out on the table, and then we can start picking apart what works for us and what works for the district, because you may have a good idea, I may have a good idea. We meld our ideas together And one time Steve and I came up with a whole idea just from talking it out. So I would say that's how my leadership style is to listen. And I would say I probably verbalize maybe sometimes too much, but I think that's where the best solutions come from, is when we can all communicate.
You.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, hi, Chris.
Well, at the halfway point. Thank you.
Okay. Question number 6. The Superior School Board of Education has hired an outside agency to reconfigure elementary school boundaries. This process will begin late summer, early fall, and be implemented for the 24-25 school year. Describe your thoughts on the approach the board should take regarding the process and other important considerations in this decision.
Well, I believe the transparency of the board is already showing when you hire an outside organization like that, that's the transparency the board should be operating on. It's not our ideas or opinions. I don't have that expertise. So I think just the transparency of hiring an organization to take a look at that is crucial for transparency and for the Superior School District. I think if we want to continue to give excellent education to our kids, which again, I truly in my heart of heart believe we do every day. I think we have some of the best administrators, staff, teachers, and kids anywhere in sports programs, still softball. I think that is absolutely crucial to always take a critical look at what our district is doing and how to operate at the highest level possible. So I think by hiring an organization like that, we need to take those hard looks. And I know it's a really difficult decision for the board, and it will be a very difficult for the community. But again, if we're always looking at what is best for kids, I think that is the path we should take.
Finishing up my sentence.
I was just making sure.
Well, Christina, this does conclude your interview. We appreciate very much your interest in the school board vacancy. Again, I'll remind you that we will send out an email tonight to all applicants with our final decision.
Is there any room for a closing statement or no?
There is
Perfect.
not.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I got a different email.
Well, she's on the next one.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully everybody a little early.
Sorry, I gotta get that.
Shut up. Oh.
Bradley Larson. Welcome, Brad.
Thank you, sir.
I am Steve Olson, the board president. As you know, today we are interviewing for the Superior School District School Board vacancy. Thank you for your interest in filling this vacancy. There have been 6 questions selected, and every school board member will ask one question. This interview will be limited to 15 minutes, which gives you approximately 2 minutes per question. You will need to manage your answers to ensure you have enough time to get through all 6 questions. Ann Schultz, our deputy clerk, will be signaling when we are halfway through the interview by holding up a yellow sign, and when time is up by holding up a red sign. Your time will start after I read the first question. We will send out an email to all applicants tonight with the final board decision. Wish you good luck. I will now begin with the first question. Brad, why do you want to be appointed to the school board? And what are the contributions you think you can make to the district?
Well, I thought it was an interesting opportunity. It's something I've thought about because kind of grew up with the school district in the family. My dad served on the board years ago. Had a lot of employees in the family throughout the years, and just thought it could be an opportunity where I could maybe be of service to the school district that I've been a part of and certainly love for all these years. I feel that, I guess maybe my strengths to be able to contribute are I'm a good listener, thoughtful person, and I like to at all sides of things before I come to decisions. Sometimes that drives my wife crazy, but I like to thoroughly go through whatever it can be that comes up, whether it's dinner or the school board issues. So.
Thank you.
Hi, Brad. Steve Stupak, board member. The question I have is describe your understanding of the school board role and of the administrative role in the district.
Yes, my understanding of that would be that we're looked upon to help the school district as it makes decisions about everything that it has to do, whether it's staffing issues, budgetary issues, issues for kids. Are you gonna go about trying to teach them, maybe try to work on, well, all the things that go into that, trying to improve attendance, community involvement, all that sort of stuff. And the role is to be hopefully a voice for the students and staff and parents and everybody to provide a solid district so that their kids can learn and grow.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, Brad. Nick Schumacher. How would you handle receiving a call from an irate parent or employee with a complaint?
Well, you have to hear the person out. Just like we try to teach our kids at school, feelings are valid, your point of view is valid. You can let them express it and try to find out as much as you can about it so that if it's something you can personally do to help it, or if you know somewhere to go to look for a resource to help them out, or whatever you can do, but at least initially validating a person's point of view so they don't feel respected or not valued, and that'll probably just make them more angry.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I'm just finishing up my note. All right, Brooke Taylor, nice to meet you. What do you see as the current strengths of the school district that the board should work to maintain going forward? In what respect, if any, do you believe the school district is weak or needs improvement? Please give specific examples.
Well, from my experience, there's amazing staff in this district. Some truly gifted educators. There's a lot of very good people at care that are on this board. And I certainly have been impressed since Amy's gotten in, and she's a, very good superintendent, very hands-on. She's been very visible, which I think that's important. I guess one of the things that I would say, I think is the toughest thing, and it's something that you have to preach to everybody all the time, but it's tough to help the kids if they're not there. And I think getting kids to come to school and attend, that's a huge part of it. And as much as we can do to bridge that gap to make sure the parents know that, I know that takes something, and that's sometimes the hurdle, and there's many things that go into that, but I just think it's an important thing. Got to have the kids around you to help them. So.
Thank you.
Good evening, Brad. Please identify specific examples of situations where you have demonstrated a working style, communication skills, leadership skills, or decision-making skills that show that you would be effective on a seven-member school board.
Well, I guess my experience on a board, most recently I was involved with the Duluth-Superior volleyball board. I had kids involved in that, wanted to be a part of it. Ended up, they thought I'd be a good person to be their parent liaison to get angry phone calls from parents. And that was certainly a good experience. I enjoyed it as much as you can, getting angry calls or having to deal with tough situation with kids. But that's always been some of the most rewarding things. Certainly I enjoyed my coaching for years with the kids, golf teams. Again, always tried to stress it wasn't necessarily about golf. It was about learning about yourself and becoming a good person and doing things the right way. And I tried to do that there. I tried to do that in my behavior room at the high school, working with the kids as much as I could to find ways to make sure that they could, again, be in class and not be kicked out and in trouble or being a distraction in class. So it's about just making sure that, again, trying to value relationships with those kids and with the staff that I worked with and everything, and trying to communicate, keep everybody in the loop, and find ways to find solutions to whatever was going on.
Thank you.
Okay, last question. The Superior School Board of Education has hired an outside agency to reconfigure elementary school boundaries. This process will begin late summer, early fall, and be implemented for the 24-25 school year. Describe your thoughts on the approach the board should take regarding the process and other important considerations in this decision.
Well, I would imagine you're going to have to look at the populations of the schools where they're located. I'm sure you'll have to look at busing needs and ways to be able to get the kids there. And certainly I'm sure there's budgetary things involved there about where you're pulling kids from and where those schools are gonna be. I know they just said you guys have just been dealing with the whole consolidation thing, and that's another, you're deciding, okay, this is where the kids are gonna go. We're trying to fill these schools. What's the best way to go about that? And I'm sure you're gonna have to look at staffing and all those different aspects to it. There again, something diligence, looking at, there's a lot of different factors that go into it. So I'm sure you have to look at various things, and you can't just have an initial, oh, well, that needs to be that, or, well, this is how we've always done it, it's where the districts, so, things change. Populations change, where people are situated, schools change, staffings.
Thank you, Brad. This does conclude the interview. We appreciate your interest in the school board. And again, we will email this evening the results.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening.
Thanks all for your.
Thank you, Brad.
That's the full name and like.
Yeah, we don't.
Steve had mentioned Brad, so it was okay to call him Brad.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I've been clocking it as mine, so we probably don't wanna, I'll have Molly send.
Do I
Got a lot going on.
Shelley Ray. So it's a hot seat. Our next candidate is Shelley Bowen. Welcome, Shelley.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Olson, the school board president. As you know, today we are interviewing the Superior School District School Board vacancy. Thank you for your interest in filling the vacant seat. There have been 6 questions selected, and every school board member should ask 1 question. This interview will be limited to 15 minutes, which gives you approximately 2 minutes per question. You'll need to manage your answers to ensure you have enough time to get through all 6 questions. Ann Schultz, our deputy clerk, is signaling when we are halfway through the interview by holding up a yellow sign, and when time is up by holding up a red sign. Your time will start after I read the first question. We will send out an email to all applicants tonight with the final board decision.
Yep.
I will now begin with our first question. Shelley, why do you want to be appointed to the school board? And what are the contributions you think you can make to the district?
So I want to join the school board so that I can make a difference within this community. This is my opportunity to be a community partner and serve our students. What was the second part of that question? How can I contribute?
What are the contributions you think you can make to the district?
The contributions I think I can make, I currently work in healthcare and I see a lot of similarities in the district that also are seen in healthcare, those being staffing issues, budgeting, challenges with decreased funding. We see a lot of that in my world as well. So I think I can complement some of those issues.
Shelley, I should have said it at the beginning. We have the construction, and if you can speak up a little bit, it does help.
Sure. That's one thing I've always been told. I'm too soft-spoken.
Shelley, my name's Steve Stupak. I'm a school board member. My question is, describe your understanding of the school board role and of the administration role in the district.
I think the school board role is to set the policies and procedures for the school district and then carry those out. Can you repeat the second part of that question?
Second part is any administration's role in the district.
So the administration's role would then be carrying out whatever the policies and procedures that the board has set forth.
Thank you very much.
Hey, good evening. My name is Nick Schumacher. How would you handle receiving a call from an irate parent or employee with a complaint?
I deal with this frequently. In healthcare, we get patient complaints as well. It's really important to listen, to hear what their concern is. You don't always have to have an answer at that moment. Sometimes it takes time to research and find out what might have contributed to the parent, or in my case, and the patient being upset, and then going back to them and coming up with a solution to partner with them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Brooke Taylor. What do you see as the current strengths of the school district that the board should work to maintain going forward? And then in what respect, if any, do you believe the school district is weak or needs improvement? Please give specific examples.
I see, so I did some research of last board minutes. I like that there's student involvement in the board meetings and coming and talking about what's going on in the schools. I think it's important to involve the students and have their voices heard. After all, we are here to support them. So I think those are strengths. Some weaknesses. So I asked my kids, what things would you want me to help improve if I was to get this position? They said that they would like to see more respect in the classroom. They're high school kids. They're seeing a lot of disrespect, language not being always appropriate in the classroom. And they also are seeing that there's a lot of vaping happening in the schools. My daughter would have issues even being able to use the restroom because there were so many students in the bathrooms taking up the stalls, vaping, and they couldn't even use the restroom. So those are some things that I would think we could put some focus around to try and improve.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Please identify specific examples of situations where you have demonstrated a working style, communication skills, leadership skills, or decision-making skills that show that you would be effective on a 7-member school board.
So I have worked in healthcare for 25 years, and of those 25 years, I've been in leadership. I've held various leadership roles in supervising variety of number of staff. Right now, I am responsible for, in our Essentia Health family, we have 70 laboratories. Of those, I'm responsible for 19. So I work with several different people in trying to make operations work. At this point in time, I'm also working towards my master's degree in health administration so that I can further contribute in my career to healthcare as well. So I'm used to working with many people in many different capacities.
Thank you.
Last question. The Superior School Board of Education has hired an outside agency to reconfigure elementary school boundaries. This process will begin late summer, early fall, and be implemented for the 24-25 school year. Describe your thoughts on the approach the board should take regarding this process and other important considerations in this decision.
So change is hard for people. I have gone through some change management classes through work and have dealt with some of that. So it's important to work with the people that it's going to affect directly and get some of their input. It's important to see how we're doing it today and how it makes the most sense to make those changes. Maybe how we're doing it today is okay, but maybe it's not. You have to get buy-in as well. So it's first making people, when you're doing a change, you first have to make them aware of what that change is. Then you have to get the desire for that change. And they have to have knowledge of it and awareness. And then once you put that change into effect, then you just have to reinforce it. So those have been my experiences with working with a big change like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kelly, this does conclude your interview. We appreciate your interest in the school board vacancy. Again, we will email all applicants tonight with our decision.
Okay.
Thank you. Good evening.
Shelley?
Thanks for your time, everyone.
Sure.
And then I realized I had a question. Yeah. In my thing, I'm like, oh, I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you. I was on and on.
My wrist hurts so bad. I'm not used to it.
It's all right. You can read it.
I type all my notes.
I just hit
Just start.
my short second.
or typing it.
That's right. It's no right hand to anything at work.
I would just like tables up and have everybody sit across.
You have to be setting up a Word doc every time and get it into a file.
Mhm.
If I move this side up here and have everybody.
I said, I think you can. Suck.
Yeah, I'll figure.
Here?
You're talking already.
Always in a hot seat, you know?
Our next candidate is Amy Fiegel. Amy, we've got construction going on outside, so we ask you to speak as loud as you can as you're answering questions and stuff. We'll try to louder ourselves.
Okay.
First of all, welcome. I am Steve Olson, School Board President. As you know, today we are interviewing for the Superior School District School Board vacancy. Thank you for your interest in filling the vacant seat. There have been 6 questions selected, and every school board member will ask 1 question. This interview will be limited to 15 minutes, which gives you approximately 2 minutes per question. You will need to manage your answers to ensure you have enough time to get through all 6 questions. Ann Schultz, our deputy clerk, will be signaling when we are halfway through the interview by holding up a yellow sign, and when time is up, by holding up a red sign. Your time will start after I read the question. We will send out an email to all applicants tonight with the final board decision. Wish you good luck. I will begin with the first question. Amy, why do you want to be appointed to the school board? What are the contributions you think you can make to the district?
I guess first and foremost, I want to be part of a group that makes the statement to the public that we're here to help their kids, that we are here to stand behind them, and we want to provide them with the best education and experience that they can get during their their entire school life. I mean, that's a big part of molding children these days and minds. And I think that providing experiences as well as providing access to resources is just a great part of that experience. I think that I can help in that manner by being a resource. I've been part of a volunteer fire department for 20 years. I dedicate my time to others in order to help them learn and grow. That's just not, I don't do it for my benefit. I do it for others. I'm willing to step into a role, training that I've had to pay for, training that I've had to take and consistently keep up on over the last, every 2 years in order to keep that. So I'm willing to provide to my community in that way. And I want everybody to be able to know that I'm willing to provide back to the community and the education of our students.
Hi, Amy. My name is Steve Stupak. I'm a board member. My question is, describe your understanding of the school board's role and of the administrative role in the district.
Over the last few years of the meetings that I've been able to attend, I find that the school board's job is to help with facilitating policies, guidelines of operations, help facilitate how we manage the students and the rules of the things that happen within the schools. And I think that we can do a little bit better job of that kind of going forward and managing some of those things. And so I'd like to be a part of looking at how can we help our students. But I believe that that is basically their role, is to help provide all the guidelines in order to run the school district as safely and yet successfully as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Amy. How would you handle receiving a call from an irate parent or employee with a complaint?
I can honestly tell you I've been that person. So I guess I can tell you I have experience with escalated telephone calls. I worked at the hospital at Essentia for 15 years. And in that time, I worked in customer service. And one of those things is you have to listen to people. You have to hear them and you have to hear what they say. You can't just take for granted that somebody's just mad and they just need to spew off, but sometimes that is the case. And you need to hear everything that they have to say and then be able to come to a determination with that. I think how I would handle it is listening to them. You can't provide feedback that I've been in your shoes or that I sympathize with you or that I empathize with you. You have to let them know that you hear them and that you plan to see what you can do for them. It doesn't mean that you can do anything, but I have always found that if you are willing to look into it to the best of your ability and you provide them with the follow-up that you tell them you're going to give them, it usually can be resolved a lot more timely and a lot less escalated.
Thanks, Amy.
Brooke Taylor, what do you see as the current strengths of the school district that the school board should work to maintain going forward? In what respect, if any, do you believe the school district is weak or needs improvement? Please give specific examples.
Currently, I think that there's a lot of pride. There's a lot of pride in Superior. I'm a graduate, a 2000 class graduate. I've lived here my whole life. My kids have gone to school here. Four Corners is where they started. And then now I have two at senior high and one who's going to be going to the middle school. I think that Superior in general is a place of pride. People like to be here and they like to have their students or their children go to school where they went to school. I do believe that the district is really good at that. And I also agree that they're really good at providing a solid education. One of the things I think we could be a little bit better on is working with our teachers. I can tell you a specific example of that is working with my daughter's civics teacher recently. He said he doesn't like the grading system that they currently are using. Well, she maybe was working on a project or an essay. He didn't necessarily feel like it was A material, but he didn't feel like it was C material. And so he's having to find himself opportunity to put something in his grade book and a little note for after to see if there's something he can do when we get towards the end of the grading period. He said there's nothing in the middle that tells him he can provide a B to a student. And I think hearing that from a teacher who says, I do this every single day and I have students who are frustrated, I'd like to see the district get better at creating a bond with the teachers and listening to what they have to say. They're your front line. They're the folks who do the job every day and they're working with your students.
Thank you.
Good evening, Amy.
Hi.
Please identify specific examples of situations where you have demonstrated a working style, communication skills, leadership skills, or decision-making skills that show that you would be effective on a 7-member school board.
Oh, I work for a consulting firm. I don't know if you've ever heard of Epic. It is the hospital not emergency, excuse me, but the electronic health record that Essentia Health uses. I'm a programmer. So I sit in on a lot of projects. My current job is to move from one contract to another. I constantly am moving through this person, this team, that team. I have to find different ways of working with folks who work differently with each other. Communication with all of those people is essential in trying to get to the bottom of what they want put into their system, right? Ultimately, you have to follow through to the bottom of what an organization is looking for, not what I know as a user. I know that there's 15 ways for me to implement one task, but what I need to know is what's best for the people I'm working with. So I guess the way that I see it is, and I lost my train of thought. Can you please reread the question?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Identify specific examples of situations where you have demonstrated a working style, communication skills, leadership skills, decision-making skills, and show that you would be effective on a 7-member school board.
Thank you. Back to my train of thought. When they hire me and I come into different teams, I may be working with one person, I may be working with 15. I have to ultimately listen to what they need. And at the end of the day, they hire me as that subject matter expert. I look at them and I say, hey, I think it works best if you do this. Did you understand the implications if I let you do that? It will work, but it's going to cause, further issues down the road. That's your job, is to understand what it is that the ask is and what the implications are to the end of the day. Right? So you want to make sure that you're providing everything that you need. So I guess I'm always a communicator. I like to know more about what's going on with the situation. I like to give the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I like to know what I'm recommending is what I've come to be the best solution for this task at hand. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
All right, last question. The Superior School Board of Education has hired an outside agency to reconfigure elementary school boundaries. This process will begin late summer, early fall, and be implemented for the 24-25 school year. Describe your thoughts on the approach the board should take regarding this process and other important considerations in this decision.
I'm not sure that anybody could say without looking into it that you'd be a complete an expert on telling them how they should approach it. But that is why you hire the experts, right? To let them tell you what they suggest. However, honestly, I think it best works for the district if we were to figure out how to keep class sizes, in a manageable amount, yet retain some of the staff that we have to provide that excellent education that we're getting. I understand that means some schools are going to move, and it's a pride thing. I was a Bryant kid. My kids are Four Corners kids. They started at Cooper. Things change. I completely agree with life changes and things evolve, and there is no right answer to that. Nobody is always going to be happy, but honestly, I think that listening to the experts say, this is how we've done it. That's why you hire people to do it. To be able to say to them, tell me how you've done it. Can you give me different examples about how you've done this so that we can look at the different approaches and maybe decide what's best for our district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy, this does conclude your interview. We appreciate your interest in the school board vacancy. And again, we will email tonight the result.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Him and the administrative office up front And Schultz was able to make the computer, I don't know, Google whatever interview and
Call me.
a little bit beyond my pay. But it worked out very well. So Nick was asked the same 6 questions. You will be able to hear Nick's responses to each one of the questions. I hope.
Okay, I turned it up nice and loud.
That's it.
Okay, with that, we will break until 20 minutes Our next candidate, Sarah Schubert McComb. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you.
I am Steve Olson, the school board president. As you know, today we are interviewing for the Superior School District board vacancy. Thank you for your interest in filling the vacancy. There have been 6 questions selected, and every school board member will ask 1 question. This interview will be limited to 15 minutes, which gives you approximately 2 minutes per question. You will need to manage your answers to ensure you have enough time to get through all 6 questions. Ann Schultz, our deputy clerk, will be signaling when we are halfway through the interview by holding up a yellow card. When time is up, by holding up a red card. Your time will start after I read the first question. We have a little challenge with construction. We will try to speak as loud as we can. We ask that you speak as loud as you can when you're answering our questions. We will send out an email to all applicants tonight with the final board decision. We wish you good luck. I will begin with the first question. Sarah, why do you want to be appointed to the school board, and what are the contributions you think you can make to the district?
Well, first, I want to thank everyone for this opportunity to speak in front of you all and be here. I would love to be a part of anything that is a positive environment or has a positive impact on students, staff, and families. I think that any opportunity that we have to get into those roles is a place that we should be. For what I bring to the table, I'm an extremely organized person. I run my life by my calendar. I have 3 children and work full time, so I have to jumble all of that and I make it work very well. I also am not an emotional reactor. I research my answers to things. I do my homework to do everything that I can do to make a positive decision, and I have information to back that up.
Hi, my name is Steve Stupak, board member. Describe your understanding of the school board's role and the administration's role in the district.
That's a great question. So I think that there's a lot of parents, students, and possibly staff that are very confused as to what the school board does. I've seen many parents post on social media that, you know, they have an issue and they immediately call the school board office to think that it's going to get resolved. And I think it's very important to go back to the basics to teach families, students, staff, what the proper ways to go through these procedures are. I really enjoyed being a part of the consolidation committee. I watch all of the school board meetings way after hours, after you have all met. I watch them on the recording every time. I just like to be involved in what's going on and what the impact is with my own children. And as far as administration, you know, it's again, families and everyone don't know what the procedures are. And I think it's really important to reconnect with those families and teach them that the school board is a positive environment and they have the ability to come to meetings and talk. There's no secret meetings. There's no anything like that. And they have an opportunity to speak up and make their voice heard.
Hey, Sarah. Nick Schumacher, welcome. How would you handle receiving a call from an irate parent or employee with a complaint?
Great question. I deal with that a lot in my own job, actually. I deal with very stressful situations. I am a real estate agent full time, so I deal with very stressful situations, usually on the daily. And, you know, it's important to keep your cool. I am not an emotional reactor. You know, when people blow up at me, I don't blow up back. I just don't. There's no point in getting heated over a situation that you can't control and something that you can correct on your own. So, you know, we talk things through, and usually by the end of the phone call, people have a more clear conscience and they're ready to, you know, act and figure out how to handle those things together. So if a parent called and had an issue, you know, that's what we do. We would talk through things and make sure that they have the resources to find the answers that they need.
Thank you.
Brooke Taylor. What do you see as the current strengths of the school district that the board should work to maintain going forward? And in what respect, if any, do you believe the school district is weak or needs improvement? Please give specific examples.
So I will speak specifically to the consolidation committee. I think that it was a great opportunity for outside voices to get in and have information presented to them in a manner that was easy to explain to others if they weren't able to attend the meetings. And it was also referenced on websites, which I think is great. As for what the strengths are, I think that the social media and the media presence has been amazing. The videos of things that are happening in the schools, the interviews, all that social media presence is great. I think that's where the main connect is for a lot of parents these days. They don't research things on the website, or they're struggling to find things because it's buried on the website and they don't even know where to look. It was just really great to have that opportunity to be on the consolidation committee. And then, going forward, if people were to have questions, they could actually reach out and get those questions answered. As for what the weaknesses are, I think that with the plan to close Lake Superior and the upcoming line redrawing for the district and what elementary schools that there are going to be associated with, I think that families are really going to struggle with that transition. It's not going to be pretty. It's not. And I think there's going to be a lot of questions from families as to why it's happening. How do they get back to their original school? What do they need to do to get to that space? And I think that talking through those things and giving people resources is the answer for that.
Thank you.
Evening, Sarah. Please identify specific examples of situations where you have demonstrated a working style, communication skills, leadership skills, or decision-making skills that show that you would be effective on a 7-member school board.
So I like to lead by example. I don't post negative things on social media. I don't talk negatively about people because I never know how it's going to impact the people that I'm around. I never know who I'm around, who they know, things like that. So I think it's important to present yourself in a respectable way, and also to engage in others and listen and, be a shoulder for someone to talk to and cry on and express their frustrations and their passions and everything that they want to be. I think that's all I got for that one. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Very great questions. They're kind of loaded questions, so it's hard once you get going.
All right. Hi, Sarah. Last question. The Superior School Board of Education has hired an outside agency to reconfigure elementary school boundaries. This process will begin late summer, early fall, and be implemented for the 24-25 school year. Describe your thoughts on the approach the board should take regarding this process and other important considerations in this decision.
I already kind of touched on that a little bit. I think that redrawing the lines is going to be an ugly experience. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a negative experience, but it is going to be change. Families have grown accustomed to knowing where they are. They know all the teachers in the building. Perhaps older siblings have had those teachers and dealt with the librarian and the principal. And maybe you have a really great relationship with the nurse, things like that. But I think that we can also spin it as a positive. There's, new ideas, new energy that will come into the building through parent volunteers, through staff. Maybe you will connect with the principal or the nurse or the librarian at a different school. Maybe they're amazing. Maybe it's your cousin. Maybe you'll go to school with all your cousins and it'll be the best years of your life. I think that there's an opportunity to bring that excitement to families that will make them instead flip. Instead of being angry, they can be excited for new opportunity, new growth, new friends, new lunchroom, all the things that the kids are really focused on. And that is really what it's all about.
Thank you.
Sarah, that concludes your interview.
Fantastic.
We appreciate very much your interest in the school board vacancy.
Yes.
We will contact by email tonight all the applicants with our decision.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Here we go. Good, Ann. Our next candidate is Diane.
Thank you.
I am Steve Olson, School Board President. As you know, today we are interviewing for the Superior School District School Board vacancy. Thank you for your interest in filling the vacancy. There have been 6 questions selected, and every school board member asked 1 question. This interview will be limited to 15 minutes, which gives you approximately 2 minutes per question. You'll need to manage your answers to ensure you have enough time to get through all 6 questions. Ann Schultz, our deputy clerk, will be signaling when we are halfway through the interview by holding up a yellow card, and when time is up by holding up a red card. Your time will start after I read the first question.
Okay.
We will send out an email to all applicants tonight with the final board decision. Now, they're quiet right now back, but there's construction, and if they kick up again,
Okay.
You'll be asked to speak up a little bit more so everybody in the we wish you good luck. I'll begin with the first question. Diana, why do you want to be appointed to the school board, and what are the contributions you think you can make to the district?
Yeah, so my biggest reason for wanting to be a part of the school board really is to serve our community and be a part of what's happening in our school districts. I am invested very much so with my own children, but not only them, I think all the children. And I feel that I can see things fairly. I can see things from others' perspectives other than just my own, because I think we can often be blinded by that. So really just advocating for all the children, and again, just seeing beyond what I think is maybe right for my family and I, but just for all of the kids. Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Steve Stupak. I'm a board member here in Superior. My question I have for you is describe your understanding of the school board's role and the administration role in the district.
I think my perspective of the board, and this could be totally wrong, and I think that's a big part of why I also want to be a part of this, is to understand how does the board really work? Because I think we see things from the outside and we may think we know how it goes, but it's probably completely different. So as far as a board member, I feel like it is the role of a board member is to really to collect all the information and to use data, to use information from our, from our teachers, from our students, and just kind of what's going on in our community and expectations from the state as well to make the best decision when it comes to, making decisions or voting on certain topics.
Thank you very much.
Hi there.
Hi.
Nick Schumacher. How would you handle receiving a call from an irate parent or employee with a complaint?
I feel like this is probably something that you guys deal with a lot. I am assuming there's some type of confidentiality as far as what's discussed at some board meetings. I think the most important thing is to really hear a parent or staff member out and to really empathize with whatever their situation is. So one big way, like I live my life, and I think would be really important in one of these roles, is to see it from their perspective. We all can see things, from our, when we're in our own shoes, but to try to understand and empathize when someone else is explaining their situation, because they may or probably likely are more passionate about whatever it is they're complaining about or upset about if they're calling or emailing about something. So I think just hearing the full situation, answering or, replying as best you can without making any promises, and really just trying to ensure them that, this is something that you really hope to address and you want to do what's best for whether it's a staff or their child or a student, but really for all the children.
Thank you.
Yep.
Taylor, what do you see as the current strengths of the school district that the board should work to maintain going forward? And in what respect, if any, do you believe the school district is weak or needs improvement? Please give specific examples.
That's a really, really good question. And I feel, looking from the outside again, it's so easy to assume, what's going well, what's not going well. And I don't feel I could be in a position right now to say, I think this is going really great or this isn't going really great. But I would be more than willing to learn about the processes that are going great and to really understand, because I don't fully know the role or, how it all, the workflow of everything. But I'm so willing to learn it, to understand it, and really do the best I can to contribute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Writing here, slow. Good evening, Donna.
Hi.
Please identify specific examples of situations where you have demonstrated a working style, communication skills, leadership skills, or decision-making skills that show that you would be effective on a 7-member school board.
Yeah, so I worked in leadership for many years at Essentia Health as a nurse manager. So during my time there, I did deal with a lot of conflict, having to be the one to resolve that and just making sure everyone was having open communication. So just kind of a broad but specific example would be if there was a employee or a nurse who was really upset. Again, just hearing their whole side of what was going on, encouraging them to discuss their concerns issue with whoever they were having a problem with, but also talking to both of them together to really hear both sides. Because again, perspective is always different from different points of view. But just really bringing them together to talk about it, open up that line of communication.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, last question. The Superior School Board of Education has hired an outside agency to reconfigure elementary school boundaries. This process will begin late summer, early fall, and be implemented for the 24-25 school year. Describe your thoughts on the approach the board should take regarding this process and other important considerations.
This is a hot topic right now. A lot of parents talking about this. I think it's really interesting and probably a good idea to be hiring someone outside because that's going to be tough decisions to make. And I imagine there are going to be a lot of parents who are very passionate about this. I think it is going to be really important to hear from parents and how this will impact their day-to-day life, because parents hear like figuring out busings, before care, school care, after school care, all of those things are going to really be impacted by this. So I think considering all of those things for each district is going to be really huge. Looking at the whole and seeing what's going to be best, because I know budget is a big thing right now. So obviously we need to get the budget in control to run our schools, right? So I think all those things in consideration will be really important.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Concludes your interview.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you guys for taking the time to interview me today. I really appreciate it. And I really hope to be a part of this board and to be a positive part of this board.
We do appreciate your interest expressed in the school board position. Again, a reminder that we will email everybody tonight with our decision.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next candidate is Belinda Yingling. Welcome.
Thank you.
I am Steve Olson, School Board President. As you know, today we are interviewing for the Superior School District School Board vacancy. Thank you for your interest in filling the vacant seat. There have been 6 questions selected, and every school board member will ask 1 question. This interview will be limited to 15 minutes, which gives you approximately 2 minutes per question. You will need to manage your answers to ensure you have enough time to get through all 6 questions. Ann Schultz, our deputy clerk, will be signaling when we are halfway through the interview by holding up a yellow card, and when time is up by holding up a red card. Your time will start after I read the first question. Now, they're a little bit quieter, but we've got construction going on in the back, and if you can be as loud as you can, that helps our audience members to hear as well. We will be sending out an email to all applicants tonight with the final board decision. We wish you good luck. I will begin with the first question. Belinda, why do you want to be appointed to the school board, and what are the contributions you think you can make to the district?
I want to be on the school board because I think it's very important that we have a strong board that represents all of our students and one that can work together to make the best decision fiscally and for the students and to support our missions. To always keep that lens of what our mission says and make sure we're supporting all kids. And I think what's the second part, what I can contribute? I think my experience being on the PTA, I've been on 3 different PTAs. I've been the treasurer, the president twice, and the secretary. So I've had board experience that way. And I also serve on the governance board at the Duluth-Superior on my 2nd term there. So we serve as kind of help make policies and be the voice for our staff members. So I've had that experience.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome, Melinda. Steve Stupak, school board member. My question today is describe your understanding of the school board's role and the administration role in the district.
The role, I understand it, of the board would be to support to support the students and the educators in our district, and to help set policies that keep all of our students safe, secure, and supported, whether it's academically, mentally, health, holistically. And the administrators are there to also support the staff, the students, and the families, and to make the best decisions we can to make that happen.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Nick Schumacher. Welcome. How do you handle receiving a call from an irate parent or employee with a complaint?
Oh, I work at EWS, 25 years experience. I will say I've dealt with my share of angry parents, not very often, but obviously meet them where they are, hear what they're saying, why they have a concern. Obviously, you may not even totally understand where they're coming from. I think sometimes people just want to be heard. So hearing why they have that concern, and maybe if it's a policy thing or whatever, it may be explaining why we have that policy in place, but also getting their feedback of, like I said, why they're upset, and hopefully meeting them where they are, and maybe we can change things or at least help them understand. And maybe they have feedback for us that we can make things better as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Brooke Taylor. What do you see as the current strengths of the school district that the school board should work to maintain going forward? And in what respect, if any, do you believe the school district is weak or needs improvement? Please give specific examples.
Okay, I think we're strong. Obviously, our graduation rates are amazing. But also I think the mental health focus, some of our efforts with the social workers and restorative justice things, and I think teaching kids from a young age, maybe, I know my son's been through that on both sides. He got in trouble one time for maybe something he didn't make a good choice for, but learning how that affected the other kid. And then also he's been harassed and bullied and things happen, and also meeting with that kid to see how that affected him. And I think now they're actually, I wouldn't say friends, but acquaintances, and enough to be able to work together, play in the playground together. I think some of those, repairing those things when they're little, maybe when they get older, they won't have such issues and they know how to resolve things in a healthy way. So I think it's really neat that we've been doing more of that kind of proactive approach. I know at the middle school, the cell phone policy, I've heard from several educators that things are so much better. The morale of the kids, morale of the teachers, the staff. Just it's a better environment. I think, again, they feel better about themselves. Maybe don't have as many issues with conduct, paying attention in the classroom. So I think that's a great thing to hear. That's even in 1 year, how quickly that's turned around. And I know that was instrumental with policy making, and that's important. So that's positives. And of course, I hate to say weaknesses because I don't care where you work or what you do, there's always room for growth. So I wouldn't want to say there's any specific weaknesses. I think there's room for growth and maybe listening to each other as a board and being able to collaborate and work together. And maybe not everybody agrees on every topic, obviously, but really listening to each other and maybe coming, from a place of you can learn from each other and then make decisions and hearing both sides of things, not just I'm right, you're wrong, or vice versa. So.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Melinda. Please identify specific examples of situations where you have demonstrated a working style, communication skills, leadership skills, or decision-making skills that show that you would be effective on a 7-member school board.
And I hope, again, this my PTA experience, elected by my peers of parents in the school, and listening to the teachers and, helping support them in the schools. I think that shows, I got elected for 2 times. Sometimes it's just because no one wants to do it, but also they know I will be the voice and help, support the kids always. Like even kids, was a really hard. I've been involved in Northern Lights for 12 of the last 13 years, so really gotten to know the families. And just the support I've heard from educators, family members, people messaging me all day today, wishing me luck and knowing I have the best interests at heart of their kids, my kids. They're all my kids. So.
Thank you.
Hi, Melinda. All right, last question. The Superior School Board of Education has hired an outside agency to reconfigure elementary school boundaries. This process will begin late this summer, early fall, and be implemented for the 24-25 school year. Describe your thoughts on the approach the board should take regarding this process and other important considerations in this decision.
As you know, I served on the parent advisory committee for the consolidation process. Well, that was a very hard decision. Well, we didn't really have the decision, but to give that feedback because my heart said one thing and maybe my head said another. Realistically, we have to be fiscally responsible, look at all the data and make a decision based on that. So I think we have to take a look at realistically where the numbers of people are, what makes sense. Sorry, I totally lost my that. And I think getting feedback if we can, as much as we can from the families, how it will affect them and their considerations. So I think it's important to keep everybody informed. Get what feedback you can, but then make the decision based on the whole. Even if it's hard for maybe one school or one family, or you have to look at the big picture. You can't just focus on that. And I think if you do things in the right place, even if it's tough decisions, then we did our job.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Melinda. Let's conclude your interview, and we certainly appreciate your interest in the school board vacancy. Again, we will send out an email to all applicants this evening to announce that.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melinda. He gets a hold for our last
Here.
It'll be another screen pop up on the bottom, so.
Simon Kaczynski is our next candidate. I don't know if you can hear me, you need to unmute your mic.
Okay, she said.
Yeah, it says art up in the corner.
We are indeed.
Do you have to give her special permissions?
She has it.
Oh, she does.
Mhm.
You type it up.
Oh,
I said, she types X out everything. Okay.
Close now.
You might not be able to see her. Oh my gosh, I need more glasses.
Admit. All right.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hi, Shanu.
The video on the bottom there. There you go. Oh, it's not gonna let us.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
No.
Hi, Shanu, are you there?
You want me to text while you're trying to just say,
We can hear you, yes. You can hear us now? Perfect. Well, welcome, Shanu. I am Steve Olson, School Board President. As you know, today we are interviewing for the Superior School District School Board vacancy. Thank you for your interest in filling the vacant seat. There have been 6 questions selected and every school board member will ask 1 question. This interview will be limited to 15 minutes, which gives you an approximate 2 minutes per question. You will need to manage your answers to ensure you have enough time to get through all 6 questions. Ann Schultz, our deputy clerk, will be
we'll just tell her.
signaling. Well, we will tell you when we are at halfway through the interview. And then we will also tell you when the interview is complete. Your time will start after I read the first question. We will send out an email to all applicants tonight with the final board decision, and we wish you good luck. I will begin with the first question. Shanu, why do you want to be appointed to the school board? And what are the contributions you think you can make to the district? Thank you.
Hi, Shannon. Steve Stupak, board member. My question is, describe your understanding of a school board role and the administration's role in the district. Thank you very much.
Hi, Shanu, Nick Schumacher. Good to see you again. How would you handle receiving a call from an irate parent or employee with a complaint? Thanks, Shanu.
Brooke Taylor here. What do you see as the current strengths of the school district that the school board should work to maintain going forward? In what respect, if any, do you believe the school district is weak or needs improvement? Please give specific examples.
Hey, Shanu, we are halfway through.
Good evening, Shanu. This is Ed Gallagher, since you probably can't see me. Please identify specific examples of situations where you have demonstrated a working style, communication skills, leadership skills, or decision-making skills that show that you would be effective on a 7-member school board. Thank you.
All right. Hi, Shanu. This is Len Albrecht. All right, last question. The Superior School Board of Education has hired an outside agency to reconfigure elementary school boundaries. This process will begin late summer, early fall, and be implemented for the 24-25 school year. Describe your thoughts on the approach the board should take regarding this process and other important considerations in this decision. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Shano. This does conclude your interview. And again, we appreciate your interest in this school board vacancy. A reminder that we will send out an email to all applicants tonight with our final board decision. Thank you, Shanu.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, as we move forward now to the voting procedure, I want to remind everybody that we are trying to fill a 10-month position. Who receives the most vote tonight will start with our board meeting in July. And serve you. You have your interview notes to look at. You have been provided with all of the letters of interests, cover letters, some sent resumes, so you've had the opportunity to look at those as try to make your informed decision how you're going to vote. Is the allowance of having discussion. But, first of all, I think we have to go to action item.
Yep.
So is there a motion?
Move to
Action item.
Move to approve.
Second.
So there's a motion and a second to approve an appointment of school board member to replace Mike Myers through April 2024. Now, discussion. But do you have any comment?
I guess I'll start. I'm gonna kind of piggyback a little bit on what you said. Yeah, most of the board applicants we interviewed today would, I'm sure with time, be good board members. However, we're looking to fill a 10-month slot. I'm sure is why the request that was sent out, the president asked for government, civic, and other board representative experience. There was only one candidate that stood out regarding those requirements. Someone who has 19 years of experience and has knowledge to offer and pass along to a board with, taking me out of the equation, has only a total of 13 years of experience. It really takes a good year to get comfortable and understand how the board operates and functions. I've been doing it for 23 years, so I know that. I've seen it over the years. Why would we not take advantage of someone who can hit the ground running, save the administration's time and the cost of having to do new board member orientation? Someone who has connections throughout the state and can help train and introduce the current new board members to those contacts at the state level. Anyone could be qualified to serve on the board, but right now we're looking for the most qualified person to fill a 10-month gap. So based on previous experience and history, that would be the person, in my opinion, that has 19 years of previous board experience on this board. That's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Albrecht. Any other comments?
I'm just going to publicly say that I'm not going to talk about any particular person. I just want to say all the candidates did a great job interviewing. And I appreciate them all stepping forward and wanting to be part of this board, work for a better district. So that's all I'm going to say.
Any other further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of moving to the vote to appoint the school board member to replace Mike Meyer, April of 2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The next step in the process is we have our voting procedure. Step one, you have all been provided with a ballot. It has all 9 candidates listed. You will select your top 4 and sign your ballot. So you would select by putting a check mark or an X, either or, in the box of your top 4 candidates. President Olson and Vice President Albrecht will tally the votes, which will be overseen by District Administrator Starzecki. President Olson will then announce the names of the 4 top vote getters. Deputy Clerk Schultz will prepare the second ballot with the names of the top 4 candidates. Any questions on step 1? Okay, so you would check your ballot of top 4 people that you would like to move forward. And Sign your name on the bottom.
Ballots to tally them with.
Yes, please.
There.
And you can, yeah.
Take our balance this way.
Yes, yeah. Feel like there. Eagle.
So it's not four.
It's 4. Has to be top 4.
That one.
The top 4 candidates, moving on to the second vote. Shelley Moen, Nicholas Olson, Sarah Schubert McComb, Diana Smith.
This will help you visually see it, sorry.
Hell, that is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I can write mine below it if you don't know. We do discussion before this or just vote? That I have anything to say.
First of all, did everybody get a ballot? Is there any discussion of this section? All right, step 2, a ballot will be provided with the names of the top 4 candidates, which all of you have. You will select your top 2 and sign your ballot. President Olson and Vice President Albrecht will tally the votes, which will be overseen by District Administrator Starzecki. President Olson will announce the names of the 2 candidates who will move to the final vote. Deputy Clerk Stolz will prepare the ballot to the names of the 2 finalists. So you would pick your top 2 and sign.
So.
said if there's a tie, you're gonna go to
Three.
the 3. Is that what I said?
Yes. On the second vote, we have the following. Shelley Moen, Nick Olson are tied, and Diana Smith. All three will be forwarded to the final vote. In this vote, you will select your top person only.
So cross that. Yeah.
And you have blank ballot or?
I do.
Yes. It's me, guys. I didn't sign my own ballot.
You need majority on this, or is it just whoever gets the most now?
Whoever gets the most votes would be the majority.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll have to make a motion.
Right now.
No.
When we get the final.
Yeah.
But we have to re-vote for the ties.
Make a motion to accept, do I announce first, or do I make a motion to accept final?
I would make an announcement. That's all we need to make a motion
Accept.
to accept that person as your.
Okay, the final ballot, Diana Smith will be the person serving the vacancy.
I make a motion that we have Diana Smith join our group.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to accept Diana Smith as the school board person serving the vacancy of Michael Meyer. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome Diana Smith. Certainly would like to echo what a couple of the other members said. 9 people stepping forward to want to come with our group and serve our community and serve our students, serve the children. Very commendable that they step forward and wanted to do those things. Certainly appreciate them stepping. It's not everybody that decides to serve something in during their time on what we have on this earth, but people that do that, I really commend for wanting to do. So, thank you to all 9 candidates.
Steve, will you call her tonight so she knows? We'll email the other candidates, but I just.
Yes. Do you have her number?
Yes.
That's
It's usually.
okay. Thank you. We will take a 5-minute break and then come back for a regular meeting. Oh, that is the other thing. All of your interview.
I'll take.
You
It's when my phone rings.
Oh.
And you ready? All right. Well, welcome back. We'll resume our regular school board meeting. The next item on the agenda is the disposition of minutes from May 8th, 2023. A motion to
approve.
Second.
motion and a second to approve the minutes from May 8th, 2023. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Report of the superintendent, informational items at the committee of the whole meeting on June 5th. We recognized our guest teacher of the year, Ms. Faust. Principal Kalen shared updates from Bryan Elementary School. Captain Winterscheid from the Superior Police Department gave a report on the 2022-23 SRO program pursuant to policy 8407. We have two action items. First action item, consideration of overnight field trip through Education First Tours, international travel to Italy for students in grades 9 through 12 in June of 2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve this overnight field trip. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Consideration of an overnight study trip to California for eighth grade students.
Move to.
Second. And second to approve the California trip. Again, I believe this is June of 2024 when they'll be born. Any discussion? Reminder that the parents are paying for all of this. This has no reflection of money coming out of the school district.
Or fundraised.
Or fundraise. Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There were no discussion items. Next on the agenda, the board committee reports. First up was the Personnel Negotiations Committee. Administration recommends approval of the updated June 2023 new hires, transfers, and separations report.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the updated June 2023 new hires, transfers, and separations report. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There were no discussion items and there are no informational items. With that, I would accept a motion to accept the Personnel Negotiations Committee report.
Second.
Second to accept the Personnel Negotiations Committee report. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Teaching and Learning Committee, action items, non-discussion items, non-informational items. At the Committee of the whole meeting on June 5, Crystal Hintzman, Director of Curriculum and Instruction, gave updates on summer school and summer professional development. Also at the meeting, Kate Tesh, Director of Continuous Improvement and Assessment, gave updates on EMLSS system and the end of the year AGR report. Motion to accept the Teaching and Learning Committee report.
Motion to accept.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to accept the Teaching and Learning Committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The Budget Insurance Committee, action items, gifts, grants, and bequests. Administration recommends approval to accept gifts, grants, and bequests received in May 2023.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second to move forward to accept the gifts, grants, and bequests received in May 2023. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Resolution providing for the defeasance and prepayment and redemption of a portion of the outstanding general obligation school improvement bonds, Series 2018. establishing an escrow account and authorizing an escrow agreement, therefore, that is attached. And the escrow agreement is attached.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the seasons and prepayment and redemption of a portion of the outstanding general obligations, Series 2018. Is there any further discussion?
I was hoping that Dave could
Yeah.
explain that a little bit, what it stems from, what we owed, what we still owe.
So this is, it's one of the levers we have to keep our mill rate flat when equalization aid goes up for property value. By making this payment, we're gonna save about $2.6 million over the life of debt service. So this is, as equalization, as property value goes up and down, that causes what percentage we're, gonna be taxing the people. And we want to keep that flat as opposed to where you get peaks and valleys. And so by levying more on our debt side, we are able to keep that flat, but we can only use that for the debt service itself. So it's not something we can levy out and then use in Fund 10. So as we gain enough money and collect enough money over the years, then we go out and make a payment. And so.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. There were no discussion items, informational items, activities fee for the 23-24 school year are attached and updated the 23-24, signify the correct school year. Although there are increases, I can tell you that I was part of the first fee increase as the activities director, and fees, the $100 fees, for instance, for football, girls basketball, boys basketball, that has not changed since my term. So I do feel it was overdue. Yeah, it was time. And I think it was important that Ella pointed out that, if any student has any problem making that payment and stuff, that there is the availability of scholarships or them coming to see her to work out a plan. We also have in the district where students with free and reduced lunch have opportunities either not to have the fee or at a reduced fee. So the other is the Fund 10 revenue and expenditure reports. So Shannon gave her report last week of where we are with the revenue and on the expenditure side. And now Dave will be taking over and making the numbers work.
Yep.
With that, is there a motion to accept the budget and insurance committee report?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to accept the budget and insurance committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Legislative committee, action items, none. Discussion items, none. Informational items. ULFB projections tax collections to grow slightly less than previous estimates. The Legislative Fiscal Bureau, LFB, today projected state tax collections over the next 2 years would come in $755.1 million lower than what the agency expected just 4 months ago. Even with that dip, Wisconsin's budget forecast still shows the state collecting about $6.9 billion more than anticipated by the end of this June. And you can click on the link to read the full article. Is there a motion to accept the legislative committee report?
Motion to accept it.
Second.
A motion and second to accept the legislative committee report. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Operations Committee action items. The administration recommends approval of Resolution 23-2 compliance maintenance resolution. Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. approve the resolution 2302 compliance maintenance resolution. Is there any further discussion? Again, this is an annual for Four Corners School. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Another action item, administration recommends an increase for all student and staff lunches that will take effect on July 1, 2023. Jamie Wilson gave a presentation on it.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to accept the increase for all student and staff lunches that will take effect on July 1. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. There were no discussion items. One informational item. Director of Food Service Jamie Wilson shared updates on the summer food service program. There was a flyer that he presented to us that we were all able to observe. You can see that did start today, and I know that it did start today because at the Y, where my little grandson started, the 3-year-old for the Y program, got his lunch. He got his breakfast and his lunch today. He was pretty fired up once. Is there a motion to accept the Operations Committee report?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to accept the Operations Committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Policies and Rules Committee, action items. Administration proposes the approval of changes to the following policies based on Neola recommendations in order to be in compliance with federal law updates. This is the second and final reading. So we have to take each one separately here. Is there a motion and a second to
Move to approve.
Second.
motion and a second to approve the second reading of policy 3112 board staff communication? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving policy 3112 board staff communication signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Second reading of policy 55400, the schools and governmental agencies.
Move to approve.
Motion and a second to approve this policy 5540, the schools and governmental agencies. Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Next action items, second reading of policy 5830 about fundraising.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve policy 5830 fundraising. Is there any discussion? Thanks. Just note, and thank you for all your work on this, and especially to the board members for taking time. They had time to read through these. Hearing none, all those in favor of policy 5830 fundraiser signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Second reading of new policy 6147, debt management.
Approve.
Second.
There's a motion in a second to approve the new policy 6147, debt management, which replaces borrowing. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Second reading of policy 6150, tuition income.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve policy 6150, tuition income. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Second reading of policy 6235, fund balance.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve policy 6235, fund balance. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second reading of new policy 6630, cash handling and deposits.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the new policy 6630, cash handling and deposits. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second reading of policy 6830, audit.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second to approve policy 6830, audit. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second reading of policy 7230, gifts, grants, and bequests.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and a second to approve policy 7230, gifts, grants, and bequests. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Second reading of policy 7310, disposition of personal property.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve policy 7310, disposition of personal property. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You still want to say that all the time. It only came out.
No, move on.
Back in control. Second reading of policy 7455, account systems for capital assets.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve policy 7455, account systems for capital assets. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The following changes are technical changes below. Technical changes do not alter the policy's intent, but rather provide minor language changes that improve the quality or consistency of the policy.
Take them all as a group.
I think
We're taking, can't take them all as a to approve. We did last.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve all of the technical changes. 3111, 4111, 3132, 4132, 4130, 5341, 6470. Is there any further discussion?
Thanks for making the changes.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Discussion items, none. Information items, done. Is there a motion to accept the policies and rules committee report?
Move to approve.
Second.
Second to accept the policies and rules committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Next on the agenda, other reports by members of the board.
Yes, I guess so.
Oh.
We're gonna talk school board members visited schools again, end of the year type thing, and just bringing back some of the major, I guess, topics of discussion. Speaking for myself, others can speak for themselves. I thought the visits were real well. Again, still informative. It's been there a few times, but they're still informative, learn new things each time. I talked about last week, maybe all the schools had some commonalities as in when we talk about budget, keeping the MLSS staff around. Pretty much every school saw a major value in that. Some other things that they saw, social workers, mental health staff, counselors, are widely needed in the schools. I think there's one elementary school that had two, they're going down to one. But they could definitely use that second one back there, and I'm sure every other school could too, just for mental health for the students. So I'm just gonna speak broadly. It seemed like the morale was better this time around. or I'll say this year in general. Many of the schools we visited, we went inside the classrooms, spoke with some of the staff. And those were times where we weren't interrupting, we were invited in. We didn't go into every classroom but I think overall it was a good visit and good hearing from the staff, some changes. Just trying to go quickly here because Len has to get somewhere here. Bryant is bringing in 3K. I think there's another school at 3K too, all four corners.
No,
No?
Bryant, Cooper and Northern Lights.
Okay. Again, Bryant had their librarian who is retiring, I think. We do a lot of good work with some STEM, I don't know what you call it, STEM classes, lessons. I took note of that because I thought what she was doing was real well with the library time for the students and some of the programs that she was bringing out. One particular was coding, and then there's some other projects, but I think that's something that I think other schools can bring to their schools for a little something different or added benefit for the students. Some of the STEM learning, I'm sure it's happening across the district, but that really stuck out there at Bryant with that librarian. Talking about Lake Superior, we'll touch on that. Some of the big things that we can do is, supporting the staff out there. And really, just like a lot of the candidates tonight spoke about, bringing families into the mix of what's going on and trying to help families through transitions. Really thinking about the staff out there and the students. Obviously, there's more students in the whole district that would probably be affected, but probably not as much so as Lake Superior. So it's important that we remember them and support them and try to guide them through that process. Anything else?
Are you done?
Sure.
Then I can add, okay. Again, I think most were really appreciative that we came in. They were all very proud to tell us about their schools and show us what was happening, which is always really fun to see. I miss being in the classroom, so it's my favorite part, to be honest. They also did share, when we asked about non-negotiables and things that couldn't be cut, one of them expressed the positions that are in the trenches, so to speak, the positions that are working directly with students day in, day out. So to really try and minimize the cuts there. And that's what their staff, their teachers and staff were also reporting to them. So they were able to tell us that. We had another that requested, I think to ease families' minds with the school closure and the new redrawing of lines, the sooner the better. And I know that's what our goal is. So just to keep that on the radar. At the high school, we did talk a little bit about standard-based grading and some potential modifications he mentioned. They were discussing some things and trying to figure out how to best approach that. And then the middle school, Amy, I don't know. I don't want to share too much too little because I didn't understand it fully, but my understanding is we're adding another pathway or an alternative for learning at the middle school potentially. He said he was rolling it out the next day. Is that, no? Okay.
So we have provided some options to students who have been homebound.
Oh.
And so how can we do that in a way that's virtual for those homebound students is an option. In the past, our staff have gone to the library or even gone into folks' homes. But since we've gotten better, I think, at virtual learning, how can we make that available for students who are more considered homebound?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, I think also he's referring to is, you have to tell me what program is, but the high school has their separate wing of helping certain kids through some of the learning and I think he was referring to wanting or desiring another program in the school of helping those kids that need a little bit more assistance.
Yeah, he had said he wanted to add that it was something that they could do next year without adding any or needing additional funding or resources for.
Yeah, they have the same things.
Yeah.
So like a Northland component. at the middle school.
Not necessarily that, but similar.
So that was exciting, I think, to hear that, there were some changes happening, hopefully some good positive things for more kids. Again, I wanted to hear more about it. So hopefully we'll have more updates next year.
Yeah, it's a very early stage.
Yeah.
Stations.
Yep. So I think that was it. Obviously, graduation went very well. We've had a lot of positives. The softball team, obviously the recognition there, that was very exciting run for them. So good things happening, positive things.
Yeah, that's cool. Any other district and program highlights?
Just graduation. It was a great night. It's one of my favorite nights of the year. It's really our purpose is to make sure our kids are all graduating. So that was good. I think we had a great end of the school year, lots of positives. I got to I think I got to all the schools within the last day or two, and there were lots of celebrations and things happening. Good vibes from everybody. So.
And once we get the dome, we don't have to worry about the lake wind at Fred.
Right. I'll get right on that. Yeah.
State softball was quite a run. We've had other teams go, but not to make it that far. And watching it was really interesting. The two commentators, Jay Wilson and Bill Brophy. Brophy used to work out of Duluth-Superior many years ago, and Jay, I met him through many state basketball. But it was nice to hear people that understood things and the stories that they had about our girls. So the information that was provided either by our district or parents and stuff, it was really neat because they talked a lot about our kids in every one of those games.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So yeah, it was really cool. All right, the next is consideration of bills and pre-approved bills. Motion. There's a motion and a second to pay the bills and pre-approved bills. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And were there any comments by members of the public?
I don't think so.
Okay. That officially ends our meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn? Adjourn. Motion second to adjourn. All those favors signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Thank you very much for a long evening. Appreciate all of your time and your efforts this evening.
Thank
you, Steve.